Welcome to John Martin Talks, where we battle ignorance and apathy daily. The growing ignorance of just how special this experiment we call the United States of America is, and the apathy that we can't or won't do anything and everything to save her. We've got a great show for you today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start out the gate talking about something that I guess is controversial depending on how you look at it, but President Trump is going local. He's actually digging down in the weeds politically, so to speak, for various reasons, and we'll expand upon that in just a moment. And then these libs, these progressives that have taken over our cities and some of our states and obviously Congress, they are having second thoughts about defunding the police, and some prominent ones are actually calling out to refund the police. And I'll explain that to you in just a moment. But before we go any further, I always have to talk about opportunities we have for you. In this case, we have opportunities for terrific, tremendous savings. Look above the video, no matter when or where you're watching it, whether it's live or taped, and check out the link to Big Daddy Unlimited, BDU. Click on that link and you will get all things Second Amendment, from guns and ammunition, yes, I said guns and ammunition, delivered directly to your door at factory direct pricing, as well as over 100,000 related items. Check them out. Big Daddy Unlimited. Now, if you want to see just how great a deal you can get, check out the show that precedes us, Denny's Deals. Denny comes across the John Martin Talks Facebook page. He's also on our excluded Facebook page. You get to excluded by dropping the E and spelling it with a big X, excluded. Denny comes on, talks for about 15 to 20 minutes about various products from the Big Daddy Unlimited arsenal. He demonstrates, talks about them, but then he shows you the factory direct pricing you would get on those items. And once you see just how much the savings you can get, you'll be so excited that you need to go above our video once again, click on the link to BDU, follow the directions. You'll be helping yourself and you'll be helping this show at the same time. And Christmas is literally a few weeks away now, and all you need to do is check that out, because nothing says I love you more than maybe a little ammunition as a stocking stuffer. So check it out. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show. This comes to you via Time magazine. Mayors, borough bosses, and land commissioners, why Donald Trump is making extremely local endorsements. Donald Trump, man, in my opinion, is doing a tremendous public service to this nation. Whether or not, we talked about yesterday whether he's going to run for president or not and who his VP might be. Check out our podcast, by the way. It's easy to see. You can go to Rumble. We're on Rumble live streaming now, of course, YouTube. And another way, good morning, Rumblers, how are you? But another way to do it is to check out the Excluded app. Go to your app store, drop the E from the word excluded, spell it with the big X, and you'll get the Excluded app. Our show is archived on there, as well as other original programming as well. Excluded app. But Donald Trump, man, as I said yesterday, he's doing a tremendous service to this country, no matter whether he runs for president or not. He really is, and that is getting involved. Ex-presidents don't normally, and I hate to even say that word, God help us, but they don't normally get involved to the extent, especially in primaries, they don't do it, and they don't really get involved in mayoral races and stuff like that. But Donald Trump is the exception to the rule, and thank God for him. He's making it clear. During their local, back to the story, during their local mayoral race in early November, town residents in Hialeah, Florida, which is essentially in the Miami area, Hialeah, Florida, population 230,000, heard a familiar voice in a campaign ad for the city's election. Steve Bavo, boomed former President Donald Trump's voice in an ad spliced with the video of Trump name-checking the Republican candidate during the rally in 2020. Donald Trump, man, so he endorsed in the mayoral race in Hialeah, Florida. Donald Trump, now he lives close to there, so maybe you could just say it's because he's a good citizen, in which he is, but Donald Trump is once again breaking the mold, man, and thank God he is, because we need to elect MAGA candidates, make America, but really America First candidates, from dog catcher to the White House and everything in between. My sole political goal right now is to stop the progressive takeover of this great nation, to stop it in its tracks. Donald Trump slowed it down in his first term. Whether he runs or not again, he can help us stop it. And that, I believe, is what he's doing. So my political goal is to stop the progressive takeover of this nation, because if we don't do that, nothing else matters. And I'm saying anything from the outhouse to the White House, Park Avenue or Park Bench, whether you're appointed, elected, I'm going to judge you based on whether or not you can help me stop the progressive takeover of this nation. May not be fair, but it is the reality in the times we're living in. And Donald Trump and I seem to be on the same page of that, and thank God for Donald Trump and his willingness to do that. Of course, you know, the establishment people, they hate it. But that's one reason why I love it, right? Boosting Bovos, this is the mayor of Hialeah, campaign to run the town next door to Trump's National Doral Miami Resort. The former president endorsement told voters that as mayor, Bovo will fight for the values that are now under attack by the radical left, what I was just talking about. With Trump's seal of approval, Bovo won the municipal election with 59% of the vote. So Donald Trump is helping us to take back America. Like I love this meme right here. It's pretty popular. I'll post it again on my Facebook site. We don't have time right now. We do not have time to wake up the sleepy and to convince too many of the people who are anti-Trump or anti-American to come to our side. What we got to do is wake up the lion, the other lions. We've got to wake them up. Me and Billy Bob are all about that. If you haven't met my psychic sidekick, Billy Bob Bass, he keeps me straight. He has a Twitter handle, by the way. It's @BillyBobBass1, and mine is @JohnMartinTalks. We are determined to stay in the public square no matter what. So we need your help, ladies and gentlemen, with that. Spread the word far and wide. Like what we're doing, share what we're doing, email people about us, all of that, because we're under the gun. It is time, like this meme says, to wake up the other lions, and that's what we're all about here at John Martin Talks, Battling Ignorance and Apathy Daily. Who's with me? What other lions are ready to wake up? We got to take back America. And I'm not talking about from Barack Obama, even though I believe he's in his third term now with Biden. We got to take, you know what we got to take back America from? What I talk about at the top of the show every day, our own ignorance and apathy, because that is why we're in the state that we're in. We have been fat and happy ever since basically World War II, and there's nothing wrong with being fat and happy. I want to be happy and maybe a little less fat, but there's nothing wrong with that. But Thomas Jefferson famously told us that if you want to be both ignorant and free, you want what never was and never will be. A republic that we have, and yes, we still got it clinging barely, depends upon an active citizenry. Without an active, educated, motivated citizenry, there is no chance to hold on to a republic. Like Ben Franklin said, we gave you a republic if you can keep it. Now, we've seen what can happen when people get activated and motivated. What I tell people, we got to educate ourselves and others. We got to motivate ourselves and others, and we have to activate ourselves and others, which means do something. And when the time calls for it, we got to eliminate others. And I'm not talking about violence. I'm talking about voting at the booth. And we just saw that in the great state of Virginia, how we turned that sucker back red up there. Thank you, Virginia, because people got truly woke. When you talk about lions, when a lioness sees that her cubs are being mistreated in school, they gonna stand up. And that's what it's gonna take. That's what's happening. And that, ladies and gentlemen, in my humble opinion, is what Donald Trump is doing by endorsing way down the food chain in this, is he is trying to help us by showing us the way to put America first. Whether Donald Trump runs or not, we need to take back this country, as I say, not from Barack Obama, but from our own ignorance and apathy. We got to stand. Who's with me? Over the last year, Trump has endorsed 57 officials in state and local congressional races across the country, according to a tally kept by Ballotopedia. Now, President Trump, let me tell you, is there any doubt about what I'm about to say? I get excited, so I'll calm down a minute. Donald Trump is the hardest working candidate and hardest working president we've ever had. Now, he caught a lot of flack for golfing and all that, and he didn't golf any more than Obama or any of the rest of them. I don't have any, you never hear me criticize presidents for taking some time off to themselves, although Biden basically does nothing. I mean, he's being run by his cabinet. One thing about Biden, he may or may not be the worst president we've ever had, but he's got the worst cabinet that we have ever seen, man. And two of them are coming down to, I think, North Carolina. We may have time to talk about it at the end of the show. I'm not sure. But have you seen where Buttigieg or Buttigieg, whatever, I have trouble with his name, and Kamala Harris are actually going on an infrastructure tour? God help you. What are the ticket prices for that, man? Who will be there? But Donald Trump is the hardest working president, in my opinion, we've ever had, and certainly the hardest working candidate. And look what he's doing as ex-president. And God help us, I hate saying that, but he's trying to save the nation by showing us the way. So it would behoove us to. He's trying to wake up the other lions. So am I. Over the last year, Trump has endorsed 50, oh, I already read that, see, I'm getting excited. Back to this article. He endorsed the winning candidate for Staten Island Borough president. So he's from Florida to New York. He's already backed candidates running in 2022 for Land Commissioner in Texas, Agricultural Commissioner in Florida, Secretary of State in Arizona, Georgia, and Michigan. He's been a busy man. A host of state attorney generals. Boy, we need to not only take back our school boards, we got to take back our attorney generals because Soros owns a lot of them right now. And lieutenant governor hopefuls, as well as 17 candidates for House races, 14 Senate races, and 8 state governors races. Thank you, Mr. President. I mean, I say that genuinely with all my heart. Thank you, sir, for the service. And I've been saying this for a while, but if I say it, it bears repeating. If you want Donald Trump to run again and win again and be the next president of the United States, we got two things have to happen. We have to shore up state integrity election laws. We got to shore that up. We can't have the same fiasco. And by that, I'm not questioning the outcome, Mr. and Mrs. Algorithm. I'm talking about the fact that a lot of states change their election laws unconstitutionally. So we got to shore those up, and we got to take back the House and the Senate. And it's not enough just to vote Republicans in there, better than the Democrats, but we need America first people. If we want to save America, we need America first people at every level of government. We got to stop the progressive takeover of this great nation. And Donald Trump is helping us with this. But this is bigger than President Trump, and he knows that. That is why he's doing it, because he's trying to help America. He is leading the way, and that is what great leaders do. Because if this movement is just about one man, it was doomed to failure. And as great as President Trump is, I told you this, but if I say it, it bears repeating. I always go back to what French President Charles de Gaulle said after World War II when he stepped down or wasn't seeking the presidency of France. They said, "How will France ever get along without you?" And he famously said, "The graveyard is full of indispensable men." And he's so right about that. So this movement is bigger than Trump. It's about waking up the lions. It's about taking America back from our own ignorance and apathy. And I am so excited to be a part of that. That's why I'm charged up. And I want you to get excited too. America, yes, it's an uphill battle at times, but isn't America worth fighting for? I mean, isn't it? I just can't believe it's not. An endorsement from former president is coveted political capital, and it's unusual, we're back to this article now, for a former commander-in-chief to extend his influence to such low-level political races. Well, you know, I think what Donald Trump is realizing, something I realized a long time ago, there's no such thing as low-level political races, because people who become, I mean, first of all, who impacts your life more on a daily basis, your local mayor or your congressman? I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? And a lot of people who become city commissioners, become mayors, become governors, one day maybe they become presidents, right? So no race is unimportant, and that's where we got to get back to paying attention. What you need to become in your neighborhood, ladies and gentlemen, is you need to be that go-to person. I mean, I'm that person really in my whole area here. People call me up all the time during races, and they'll say, you know, I hadn't really been paying attention to the county commission race or the school board race. Who do you think I should support? And I tell them, you know, why. I have an answer for them, and I tell them why, because I look at things. You need to be that type of person. That's what we need. We need more warriors out there. More lions need to stand up, or we're going to lose it all. We need to get behind my political goal. Stop the progressive takeover of this nation. I keep asking this question, but who's with me? I'm feeling really fired up now. Maybe because it's hump day, I'm not sure. But there's no such thing as a low level in that sense when I'm saying there's important. It's just like that term, and I've been saying this for a while, but if I say it, it bears repeating. I hate the term essential workers. And I understand, because my wife's a home health care nurse. She works with older people. She's working round the clock, and I'm about to work herself to death. I love you, baby. You need to come on home. But, I get the term essential workers, but the reason I don't like it is who's not essential. If you are, that's why I've gotten a habit. I always thank police officers. I think our military people, all that, and I would encourage you to do that. But I've started thanking people simply for working. Somebody at the fast food thing, or the clerk at the local market, the supermarket. I thank them for working, because I say, I thank you for just being willing to work, because so many people don't seem like they are, which is scary. But what is an essential worker? If your family depends on your paycheck to provide a roof over their head and food on their table, it doesn't get any more essential than that. So everybody is essential here, and every political figure is essential. We just need to get the right folks in there. America first, man. Love it. I need your help. Help me everywhere. All 50 states. So back to this article. So what is Trump up to? It's partly personal political observers, they say. Partly personal, that's what they're saying. Trump has always, and this is their words, not mine, Trump has always been open about supporting those who praise him and attacking those who criticize them. Trump is open about everything, man. I mean, I talked about this yesterday about loyalty, when he's talking about vice president. What's wrong with wanting someone who is loyal to you? What is wrong with, even Sun Tzu with The Art of War talks about your enemies and your friends and all that. This is not unique to Donald Trump. It may be unique to a political person that he's not making total political calculations, but Donald Trump is open about who he supports and why, and if he don't like you, he's open about that. I want to play you this video and I know this is, I don't mean to put it together with what happened as far as terrorism and all of that kind of stuff, but this is that news conference in Iraq when some member of the Iraqi press, well, you'll see, haven't you always kind of felt like this? Check it out. You got to give old George W. some credit, man. He moved pretty good when that guy was throwing a shoe at him, right? And I'm not condoning that, but how many times have you been watching a presidential press conference and just wanted to at least hold up a BS sign? BS, or throw a shoe, or shoot the TV, or something like that, man. How many times? One of the things that I loved about President Trump, and I love about Donald Trump now, is he just says it. He just says it like, some people hate it, but I love it. Now, how many times have you been sitting there going, man, I wish they would just tell me the dadgum truth? Donald Trump love him, hate him, whatever, Donald Trump tells it like it is, sometimes to his detriment, but I personally love it. Back to this article. It says Larry Sabato, if you don't know who he is, man, he is a piece of work, man. A prominent political analyst and director of Center for Politics at the University of Virginia. He said this about Trump. He's got a long memory, and it is one of the most vengeful people who we've ever come across. Is that true? Is Donald Trump the most vengeful person? I mean, possibly, sure, maybe he is. But there's a reason. Donald Trump comes at this as a hardcore businessman. He's not a politician. And I actually like that about Donald Trump. Some people just aren't used to it. They're used to these politicians becoming so smooth and telling us what we want to hear. Where the heck has that gotten us? Where has it gotten us on either side, Republican, Democrat aisle? It really don't matter. Where has just painting polyester things about America, where has that gotten us? 6 feet under and deeper in debt or something like that. I mean, the last president we had besides Donald Trump was Ronald Reagan that kind of did that. Remember what he said? He said we need to paint with bold colors, not little pastels and everything. We need to give people a clear choice. And I think Donald Trump, love him or hate him, does that. But he comes at it as a hardcore businessman. Donald Trump is not a backstabber. He's going to hit you he's a counterpuncher. You swing one at him, he's going to hit you twice. Boom, boom. Donald Trump don't stab people in the back. So I don't know if he's vengeful or he's just straightforward. And I actually like that. And Billy Bob Bass, my psychic sidekick, like I talked about, he says, we had enough people like, maybe this guy, Mitt Romney, man. I mean, I love this. It's probably Photoshop, but I think it kind of says it all. I wish you could recall that guy out there in Utah. Please don't ever reelect that dude. I know you can't recall him. It's against your state constitution, but do not give us him again. But we need to get rid of all these rhino Republicans and the Democrats. I mean, it goes without saying that we need to get rid of them. And Donald Trump is trying to help us at every level, and I really appreciate it. But Trump, back to this article. Let me take a little sip here and calm down. I'm excited about this. I'm excited about what Donald Trump is doing. I really am. But Trump appears to have a tactical reason for intervening. This is what the article is saying, at local level too. His failed, this is their words, attempt to overturn the results of the 2020 election suggests to Sabato, like he's the guru, and others that his local endorsements have a political motivation, especially when they are positions that oversee vote counting and certification of election results. There may be some truth to that. I think if it is a small portion, but let's just assume that they're right. Like the Democrats say, if true, and you can say anything after that, right? If true that Donald Trump is trying to make sure he has his people in key positions, I wonder where he learned that. Where did that come from? Oh yeah, our old buddy Joe, and I ain't talking about Joe Biden. I'm talking about communista Joseph Stalin, who, if we got that meme, famously said that it is not who votes, basically, it's who counts the votes. And we have known that. The Democrats, the socialists, the communists that are running the Democratic Party, they have this stuff down pat, man. So if Donald Trump is doing that, he had some pretty good teachers. As Trump tries to sway the outcome in local races from New York to Arizona, the next year will test just how influential the former president remains. Well, I can tell you, he's pretty powerful right now. I talked about waking the other lines. We got Trump's army out there, man. The sleeper has awakened. It's interesting to me how many times and I love that meme right there. They don't fear Donald Trump near as much as they fear you, the American people that put him in there. And they act like Donald Trump, forget who won the election. The bottom line is Donald Trump got 75 million votes, 10, 12 million more than he got in 2016. No one disputes that. He got the most votes of any incumbent in the history of the presidency, the most. So not even debating about the win and loss of Donald Trump has a tremendous following, and it's only going to get stronger. So if true that Donald Trump is trying to make sure behind the scenes that he has his people in place, that's politics. But I really believe, personally, I'm not saying that's not a factor, but I believe Donald Trump is a patriot, and he is trying to help us take America back one candidate at a time from the outhouse. He's with me on my political goal. Stop the progressive takeover of this nation, because he realizes, like I do, that if we don't, all bets are off. So every election is important. We need to field candidates and support candidates at every level, and we need to take this nation back one candidate, one election at a time. So we need to get truly woke as American people. And let's start with the 75 million that voted for Donald Trump. You can make a difference if you get up, if you got to get off your knees, off the couch, off your butts, and make a stand. Because this has really come down to liberty versus tyranny, freedom versus tyranny. That's where we are in this nation. I think Donald Trump gets it. I know me and Billy Bob get it, and we need your help. Who is with us? Who's with us? All right, before we move on to the next thing, I got a little gift for you. You know, it's Christmas time. Go above the video, no matter when or where you're watching it, and click on the link, johnmartinhealth.com. That's johnmartinhealth.com. You'll get totally free a gift, so there's no obligation, no cost. You'll get a bottle of zinc, mineral zinc, and a bottle of vitamin D3. johnmartinhealth.com. Check it out. I want you to have this $50 value free to you, because one thing we should all agree coming out of the pandemic, however you want to word it, is we need to be healthier as a people around the world. Good nutrition is the basis of that, but getting the proper supplements is key to it as well. johnmartinhealth.com. Accept this free gift. All right, let's move along with the time we have left. These crazy progressive liberals that are, in mayor, city commissioners, and everything else, which is why we love the previous story that Donald Trump is involved in, they are rethinking the defund, and they're actually refunding. It turns out that defunding the police was a bad idea, and it has consequences, right? This is focused around the Oakland mayor, but it really speaks to a lot. This is happening all across the country. Oakland, it's an AP story. Oakland mayor seeks to reverse police cuts amid crime spike. Now, this lady here is the mayor of Oakland, Libby Schaaf, S-C-H-A-F-F. Now, she's the one you may famously remember that first made the news a couple years ago when she warned illegal immigrants that ICE was coming to raid them. And many of them, they escaped and went on to commit some serious crimes. This is what she's known for. But now she's known for defunding the police and now refunding the police. Check this out. In a reversal of plans to divert funding from police to social services, Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf said Monday that she'll push to reverse planned cuts to the city's police department and seek to quickly hire more officers amid a spike in violence and homicides that has left some residents afraid to leave their homes. Now, I got to ask this question. How many people ever thought that Oakland was a safe city? Oakland has been a notorious bastion of crime for a long, long time. It has never been a good idea to defund the police in Oakland. Never been. Certainly not now. I want to play you a brief snippet. This was a few months ago of Oakland's police chief, and he was talking about this. Now, I believe that he probably believes Black Lives Matter. I doubt he believes in the organization. But let's just play it, and we'll come back and talk about it. Check it out.
At more risk.
We already have a tough time responding to the high number of calls that we get. This will make it tougher, having less officers in the field, particularly for marginalized communities like Deep East Oakland, where we see 2/3 of our calls coming from. They will be impacted the most. That concerns me.
Chief Armstrong also
concern him. You hear what he's saying? He's essentially saying that the communities where predominantly black people live or minorities live are going to be impacted the most by defunding the police. It makes no sense. That's why if you actually go into these black communities, what are they doing? They're like some of the gun buyers, Second Amendment rights people in black communities setting records. By the way, if you want to check that out, go to Big Daddy Unlimited, the link I told you above the video, your go-to place for all things Second Amendment. Big Daddy Unlimited, click on the link, factory direct pricing. But the police chief in Oakland, he knows from what he's talking about that it is idiotic idiotic to cut police funding, and for any person of color, especially in a place like Oakland, to be for that, and not only saying they are for that, is just mind-boggling because it's going to be impacting you the most. People need to wake up. I think, for instance, Hispanic community, if you look at what's been happening in Texas and you look at how Donald Trump clobbered along the Texas border, he just killed it in 2020. He won areas where Hillary Clinton had won by like 40 points in the predominantly Hispanic Democratic parts of the state. Why? Because Hispanic Americans realize that their neighborhoods, if you're talking about a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood, are going to be impacted by illegal immigration first. Their schools, their hospitals, their communities overrun first, and they're waking up to it. Minority communities, whether they're white, black, poor communities, poor places of town, let's just put it that way, they need to wake up too and realize that crime is going to be the highest in your area right off the bat. And you know, black folks know this. That's why the whole idea of defunding the police and the majority of black Americans are for that is ludicrous. They're simply not. But the mayor's announcement in Oakland came after a weekend in which 3 people were killed, including a retired police officer acting as a security guard for a television news crew, bringing the number of homicides to 127 this year, so far this year. But this was sadly predictable, ladies and gentlemen, because like this meme shows you here, this blue line meme, it is so true, man. If that blue line breaks, the gates of hell will open up. Man, my heart goes out to this officer, retired. I heard he's a grandfather and obviously a parent, and he was killed brutally by a punk. That's the only way to put it, in Oakland. And you know, I worry about our nation. I worry about our police officers, because here's the thing, and I say this all the time in the past about our military, and I want to expand on this. You know, our military is all volunteer, right? I'm not knocking that at all. Matter of fact, best and the brightest. But I've always said, what if we become a nation that is not worth fighting for? Then what happens? We're going to be in a world of trouble, right? But now I've come to believe with this defunding the police, you know, a police officer, think about being a police officer. And you have to go out every night, and you know that there is a higher percentage than probably any other profession that you might not come home. You might not survive your shift. And if you do, you might come home injured, plus all the crap you have to put up with anyway. Can you imagine the calculus you have to make every day when you leave your family behind? You leave your wife, your husband, your children behind and go knowing that. What kind of burden that is? What if it comes to a point, yes, with the military, our nation becomes not worth defending, but what if our communities become communities not worth serving, not worth protecting and serving? We're going to be in a world of hurt, and like that meme showed, the gates of hell break loose. So, you know, and we're hearing about this all over the country. They're having trouble recruiting police officers. And I've said this before, but I'm really kind of almost ashamed to repeat this. But, you know, if a couple years ago, if one of my kids had come to me and said, you know, Pops, they call me Big Papa, I'm thinking about being a police officer, I would just been so proud, and I still would be, and encouraging. But I got to admit, and I'm almost ashamed to really admit this, I would have to have a conversation. Do you really want to do that right now? And I can't even believe that I feel that way. It breaks my heart that I feel that way. And then there's this whole thing about legacy. You go to places like, say, New York City, probably any major, really any place, and there's such a legacy, Boston, places like that, and I've seen it firsthand when I lived in New York. There's a legacy, multiple generations, police officers. If that ever gets broken, which there's more and more evidence it's being broken in New York, we will never recover from that, or at least it will take a long time. So I just salute our men and women. I'm not saying they're always right, but God help us, can you imagine? And we're starting to see without them, that thin blue line. I can't go back to that meme enough. When that thin blue line breaks, man, the gates of hell open up. And we're seeing that out in California for sure. Back to this story. To address the violence, Shaft, this is the mayor of Oakland. If you're just joining us, let me tell you what we're talking about. We're talking about these liberals having a change of heart about defunding, about refunding the police, but it only goes so far. To address the violence, Shaft, she's the mayor of Oakland, said she'll ask the city council to reverse funding cuts scheduled to take effect next year, though she still supports diversion efforts. Diversion efforts. I love all this council. That's defunding the police. But, you know, can you blame the mayor of Oakland when you remember when Joe Biden said that he is the Democratic Party? Remember that? Well, when you think about that, keep in mind what Joe Biden, it was candidate Joe Biden said, and I can't see any reason why he still doesn't believe it. People don't see this video enough. This is Joe Biden when asked about redirecting, which means defunding. Check out what he said.
The generic point is
But
that...
do we agree that we can redirect some of the funding?
Yes, absolutely. And one of the...
Yes, that's what he's talking about. He says, yes, absolutely, redirecting. I mean, all this, I'll tell you, I've always told you, I'll tell you when you're being played. Think about this. So what if you go into you work for a company and your boss calls you in and says, hey, Joe, you know, come on in, I want to talk to you, and introduces you to Sally over here. Says, you know, Sally is a new employee that we have here, and I've decided that in order to bring equity to this thing, we're going to redirect 10 or 15% of your salary to Sally. You know, we're not defunding you. We're just going to redirect it. I think you get the general idea. It's crazy. But so this Oakland mayor, she's actually taken her lead from the top. But let me bring you up to date on this little subject too, because there's in this new Build Back Better infrastructure deal the Republicans caved into, there's this thing about giving money to police departments. They go, oh, from the federal government. People might say, oh, well, Joe Biden is responding to crime. No, that's not what this is about. I'm not saying it won't help, but that's not what this is about. This is about control. This is about the free ice cream. You never get something for nothing. Joe Biden and his administration is the free ice cream man, right? It comes with strings attached. What they're trying to do by defunding the police on one hand and then refunding them at the federal level is to give the feds control of your local police department. Take that to the bank. It's not a good thing at all, and we need to resist that. But the mayor of Oakland told reporters this. She said, when those messages and services are not effective, talking about alternatives, you know, to police officers, I guess social workers, the consequences must be swift and certain. There's nothing progressive about unbridled gun violence, right? So they try to couch it in as some kind of Second Amendment issue. That is not it. It is about unbridled crime. It is about coddling crime. It is about no bail. It is about Biden and Kamala Harris providing bail to get people out. It is about describing a guy in Waukesha, Wisconsin as a car killed people in a parade like it was just a car. No, it was a lunatic that was a racist Black Lives Matter lunatic, a communist organization that ran people over. We got to start, I'm not going to be, if you're tuning in for political correctness, you're at the wrong place. They're even saying now you call people looters. Looters is racist. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. We need to call it what it is, and that's what I'm going to do, man. That's what I'm doing. Oakland is among other liberal cities having to change course amid a spike in crime, right? So it says, here, give you a few examples. In June 2020, the Portland City Council and the mayor cut millions from the police budget. Earlier this month, the council unanimously passed a fall budget bump that included an increase in the current $230 million police budget by an additional 5.2 million. So I guess old Billy Bob is right, man. You mean to tell me that and I'm not against social workers. You know, I used to work in the drug treatment center. I used to be one of these social workers. But a clipboard don't stop bullets, man. It does not stop bullets. It's insane the way these people think. I want to play you a video right now. This was about a year ago. This was in Wisconsin after the George Floyd, I think it was in Minneapolis. This is a city commissioner in Minneapolis being interviewed about the police and defunding them. Listen to what this, I got to call it what this idiot says. Check it out.
Action against our police department, which gives us legal mechanisms in the very short term. You know, there's lessons from all over the country, all over the world that we're looking to take immediate steps while we work toward building the systems that we would need to imagine that future.
Do you understand that the word dismantle or police free also makes some people nervous? For instance, what if in the middle of the night my home is broken into? Who do I call?
Yes, I mean, I hear that loud and clear from a lot of my neighbors. And I know, and myself too, and I know that that comes from a place of privilege, because for those of us for whom the system is working, I think we need to step back and imagine what it would feel like to already live in that reality, where calling the police may mean more harm is done. And
so it's white privilege. I want to make sure you understand it, because I'm an expert on this white privilege right here. I got my white privilege card here, right? It says here it's issued by Scott Free. I'm a lifetime member of white privilege. You know why I don't apologize for white privilege? Because I got nothing to apologize for. You know, I just don't. So if you're looking for an apology from me, you're barking up the wrong tree. But this gal this is a city commissioner, an elected city commissioner. I used to be mayor of my little city of Hawthorne. I mean, I just can't imagine you thinking that to call the police if your home is being invaded by, like George Floyd, for instance, who invaded a woman's home, it never gets talked about, put a gun to her and she was pregnant and he home invaded her. Yeah, that guy that they're lionizing, yeah, that dude. But she's saying it's white privilege to expect a police officer to come to your home. It is absolutely insane. But that's how crazy these people are. Like I tell you, my only political goal is to stop the progressive takeover of this great nation. That's why I am so happy, as we said previously, that Donald Trump is endorsing. I mean, he should endorse somebody in that race, get rid of her. I mean, we've got to take our country back from our own ignorance and apathy, one election at a time. There is no reason why a woman that idiotic should be serving in public office. Get rid of them now, man. We got to educate ourselves and others, motivate ourselves and others, activate ourselves and others, which means do something, and then eliminate, which means vote them out. Let me ask you this. If not us, who? If not now, when? We cannot wait any longer. And not even talk, because I get people chiming in, and I want people to understand this. I get people chiming in on Facebook, which I appreciate, and all this. I try to get back to you as soon as I can, saying we need Donald Trump back in office now. We can't wait till 2024. I'm with you. I love that. And yes, but it's probably not going to happen anytime soon, right? He may run, he may not, and he may, but we can't wait. I agree with the we can't wait. We have got to start doing like they did in Virginia and taking our schools back, our school boards back. We got to take away our state attorneys and local attorney generals, state's attorneys from George Soros. I mean, the Democrats and the progressives are getting involved at the micro level, yet they're criticizing Donald Trump for doing the same thing, like we just talked about. We have got to wake up, man. Listen to this part right here. This is back to this Oakland deal. Among the other high-profile deaths was a death of a 1-year-old boy who was hit and killed by a stray bullet. I just got a new grandson just the day before Thanksgiving. I'm going to watch my 13-year-old granddaughter play basketball this afternoon, this evening. I can't imagine losing one of my grandchildren to this. It chokes me up. But among other high-profile deaths was the death of a 1-year-old boy who was hit and killed by a stray bullet on an Oakland freeway while he slept in his car seat as his mother drove on Saturday afternoon. I do a lot of the family stuff. I'm always transporting my grandkids in car seats and everything else. I can't imagine this happening, but it's happening all across America. It's heartbreaking. Officials say the vehicle likely got caught in the crossfire of two vehicles exchanging gunfire. I want to play you this video. This is from Oakland residents. It's a few months old, but it is extremely powerful, and it's kind of hard to hear, so I got to set it up. These are black Oakland residents confronting white Antifa that aren't from their neighborhoods, that are out there promoting defund the police. I want you to hear, because I tell you, I don't believe for a minute that the majority of black people believe the BS that's coming out of the Democratic Party. They just need to wake up and realize that they're being taken for granted. But listen to what these people, these black Oakland residents, are saying to these white Antifa about why they want them to get the hell out of there. Check it out.
That's a lie. There are not hundreds of people, and they're saying that the police are bringing ourselves together. Thousands of people. Get this out the way. We're talking about right now. What do you have to do? What do you have to do? Why do you have to just run? What are you trying to do? Are you self-interrupting? We're trying to save our people.
We're trying to save our people. You hear that? That black woman says, we're trying to save black babies. The Democratic Party don't care about black babies. I mean, that's a whole other issue, but more black children are aborted than born in New York City. That's still the same. But here you hear black Americans who are right there. It's their neighborhoods. The man says, we're trying to save our people. I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. We got to save America. We got to save our children. We got to educate our children. We got to take back our school board. We have to get truly woke. And this is not about Republicans and Democrats, although the Democratic Party is bankrupt of ideas. But we have to be Americans, and we have to take our country back at every single level, because Dr. King is absolutely right. We may have come over in different boats, but we're in the same boat now. And America ain't perfect, but where's better? We have one of two choices. We can sit back and enjoy the fruits of whatever and watch our country go to hell in a handbasket, or we can make a stand at every level, from dog catcher to White House, Park Avenue, Park Bench to outhouse. It don't matter to me. We got to stand up. Who's with me? Who's with me? Well, I hope you've enjoyed the show as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. Please go directly to our social media sites, like them, share them, spread the word. Check out the deals above, the free gift, johnmartinhealth.com. Remember, BDU, all of that in the link above the video. I'll pray for your family. You pray for mine. But we need to pray for this great nation, because it's on the line right now. And above all else, like I say, each and every day, from my heart, from my family to yours. Have a blessed day.